right, here we are, everybody. Episode 5 today. I'm Tony.
I'm Dean.
I'm Drew.
Hey guys, welcome back to Our Path Podcast. This is episode 5, but it's also the first installation of the series where we talk about what we did in the past month. Obviously, this is the first month, so you guys are only getting a recap of one, which is January, but once we get to February, March, and April and all that, we're going to kind of recap all of it because that's kind of the focus of this podcast is Our Path. We're gonna talk about our path, what we did in the past month. And I got to say, I can't speak for Tony, but for Drew and I, a lot happened this month, and we're pretty excited to talk about it. Let's start with Drew. You can kick us off.
Well, you can feel free to chime in because I know maybe you'll have some stories to tell too. But January, pretty interesting month to say the least. Starting off 2022, I would say on the right foot. Real estate picking up. I actually am proud to say that I have my first clients now. A friend of mine referred them over to me. Thank you for that. We're working towards getting them into she considers herself a first-time home buyer. So working to get her into her first home and happily ever after for her. So I'm really excited about that. And just working towards more marketing for myself, growing my sphere of influence for real estate, and just getting myself out there, thinking of new ways every day. And also outside of real estate, just this podcast. I mean, we have grown. I mean, we just hit 200 listeners to our podcast, and we have 4 episodes out. So
200 plays.
Yeah, 200 plays. So I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot, maybe, but I mean, put 200 people in a room and talk to 200 people at one time, and it's a lot bigger than you think, and especially with 4 episodes. So just a big thank you to you guys, and we're really excited about this project, and I'm super thrilled to see where this is going to go and how much we've already accomplished.
I mean, yeah, getting through 2021, I remember those last November through December, it was building up. People are like, oh my God, I can't wait for this podcast to come out. You guys have been hyping it up. This is going to be cool. And finally it's out here, and we're already 5 episodes in. It's crazy. I mean, think about how fast time has flown. We are, I think, as of we're recording this, about 27 days in January. We're 27 days into 2022. It feels like the ball dropped yesterday. I mean, does it not?
It does. It felt like the month went by really quick.
Yeah, absolutely. But I got to be honest, these 27 days have been pretty good. I mean, making promo clips for this podcast is something that I actually enjoy doing a lot. And if you guys follow the Instagram, if you don't, it's at Our Path Podcast. But if you do, you've seen the progression of our content, and hopefully it just keeps getting better.
And you can also find a lot of our stuff, actually all of our stuff, on YouTube as well. So maybe if you're not an Apple Podcast person, you're not a Spotify person, we've got a YouTube with all of our audio, with all of our reels. So go subscribe, like, comment, share, whatever you got to do.
All that good stuff. But aside from that, this first episode dropped and the response was overwhelming. It was great. It was definitely way above what I thought it was going to be. I think we got about 80 listens on that one episode. And like Drew said earlier, it may not sound like a whole lot, but 80 you put 80 people in a room. I mean, how many people were afraid to public speak in school in front of 15? You put 80 people in a room and you talk to them. That's a lot of people. I mean, you put it into context.
If I'm being honest, this podcast is probably the most successful thing of my month, and the most successful thing as far as 2022 is concerned.
Yes. Well, we don't have not a lot to work with yet, but for sure.
But just to see the growth and to be able to finally do something with some people who are on the similar mindset as me, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool because we brought this together, and we were talking about it for months, and it's like you didn't think it was actually going to happen. And here we are in episode 5, and people are liking it. It's a real thing, and it's especially for the first month. I mean, we have just such good success so far, and it's so cool to see.
Yeah, and we are going to start having guests soon, so stay tuned for that. We're very excited to start rolling those episodes out. But podcast aside, to kind of trail back to real estate, for me, it was just a month of orientation, a month of getting my feet wet, headshots, which for those of you who don't know are photos for your business cards. For me, it was really just kind of checking all the bullet points off and making sure that I can really start walking through this career here. But it's pretty exciting for me to think about the fact that I'm 19 and I've already started a career of some sort. It may not be the end all be all. It might not be what I end up doing at 65. But for the time being, I am excited to say that I am a realtor. I mean, I am. I mean, I work at Wegmans. That's what I do to make actual consistent money. But once the real estate starts taking over, in a couple of years, a year or two, I'm a realtor. That's what I do. And I'm excited to actually work with that. There's people at our brokerage that I'm excited to see when I walk in. People are so open armed there. They greet you as soon as you walk in. My broker John, Drew's broker John as well. Fantastic man. I'm very excited to work for him.
Yeah, we've mentioned him numerous times on the podcast, but he deserves it definitely.
He wants to see us succeed so bad, and you can feel how genuine the man is. You know, you meet a lot of people. You have a lot of bosses that you can just tell are kind of slimy. Not this dude. Right. This dude's the real deal. I'm very excited to work for him. He wants to see us succeed, and I want to be on that path with him. I'm excited to take him on my journey.
All right. Enough about Dean and I for a little bit. Tony, what do you got?
So I was actually just thinking about it the other day when I was in high school and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I was actually thinking about maybe just going right into a trade, but I ended up in college and I still wanted to get that trade. So I was thinking, well, maybe I'll stick trade school on to the end of my college degree. So after I go through the 4-year degree, I go to like a vocational school or a trade school for, I thought maybe electrician or a plumber.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is that I actually ended up finding a job in a trade, which is rough framing or building houses. So I'm getting my trade and I'm not actually paying for it.
That's pretty cool.
I'm learning how to do it. I'm getting my trade. I'm getting what I wanted. It might not have been what I expected, but the way I see it, it's actually better.
Yeah, it's free experience.
Right. So I'm getting paid to learn.
Yes.
In a sense, which is pretty cool. And the other thing I started doing just probably at the end of December, beginning of January, when I was working in between school for a break, I actually started writing stuff down, taking notes about what I learned that day. What did I find out that day?
Yeah.
What did I discover that day? What did I pick up on?
That's important.
And then I was able to look at those notes and bring that information back the next day, the day after, and just keep remembering it.
I kind of did something similar. I started it like early December, but I've been continuing with it through January. I call it my captain's log.
Okay.
It's in my room. And it's basically like I almost envision my life as kind of like a ship, and I'm the captain of it. And I have to decide, okay, what's working, what's not working, what problems have we seen before, and how can we fix that? So through my journal, I mean, I don't have a ton of stuff in there, but you can see some reoccurring problems. I'm like, okay, so this has reoccurred. How did I solve it last time? Okay, right. And you can just like, it's almost like a cheat sheet for life. You can like, okay, oh, that's how I fix it. Okay, let's just do it again, right? So what you said kind of reminded me of that, and I've been kind of continuing that through January, but I think that's a pretty good idea for anybody who needs one.
I have something sort of similar. It didn't necessarily start with the new year. I've had it since actually February of 2020. And I pop in there. It's a little journal of mine. It's on my computer. It's not an actual journal. I'll pop in there and I'll type up just a little summary of what my life is at the moment. So I have entries from February of 2020 to January of 2022. It's been a couple of years in the making. But for me, it's important that I have this log because I can look back and kind of remember where I came from. And sort of what Drew said too, of kind of remember what problems I had. And maybe I'm facing something similar. So I can kind of go back and think about the solutions I came up for that. And maybe like, okay, well, I'm obviously having this problem again. Maybe that's not the solution I needed. Or, even just going back and reading about some times, like some good times. I always like going back and kind of looking at what the times were like at that point because, why not? It's fun.
I was doing that yesterday. I was going through my old Instagram DMs from like 2019.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just seeing like, how did I even text people back then? It's just like, it's so weird. Like how much growing you've done, you don't even realize it. But like looking at those texts, I was like, I'm texting like a 5-year-old. Like, what is this?
It's kind of cringe when you go and you look back at some of that stuff, isn't it?
It's like a yearbook photo. You kind of go back and look at your 8th grade photo. You're like,
and like some of those DMs, like you can see like there's maybe a problem that I had to solve at that time in my life. And I look back like, that is so stupid. Like, why was that ever a problem?
Yeah.
But things have changed, definitely.
So I don't have like almost a captain's log like you do, but I have been keeping two separate journals.
Okay.
Yeah.
One for my workout routine, what I've been
Okay.
doing. I write down all my sets and all my reps and all the exercises. And I also keep a food journal. So I know what I eat at the same time. So I can always look back and see how that's affected me over the time period. I'm still keeping it up.
And you can make correlations like, okay, I was feeling maybe a little down at this point in my life. What was I eating at this point in my life?
Right.
Or like, was I working out? And you can make those correlations, and maybe, okay, I was happy at this point in my life, but I was also eating well and working out at the same time. So
Yes.
It helps keep me on track, and it helps
Yes.
keep me on my path to success.
There you go.
Because I can look and I can see, well, you know what, I wasn't doing so well here. Well, look at how I was eating.
Yeah.
This is pretty sloppy. And then I know, okay, I need to make a change.
Yes.
yes,
This is what works. Let's go back to it. Let's get back on track.
I do like that. I
My
like that a lot.
neighbor Zach, who we refer to as Chip, you guys may have heard of Chip. He has a log on his phone for working out, and he will have like all the exercises he's doing that day and certain emojis that are dedicated to his progress that day. So if he hits a PR, or he'll put like a check mark. But if he stays flat, it's, I forget what it is.
Right.
And then if he can't even touch where he was last time, he'll put like an X emoji or something.
Right.
But I think that's pretty cool. You know, that's a good way to kind of keep track of your progress, like from weeks and weeks and weeks. He's got one for every workout he does.
Yep.
So for me, that's pretty cool. I mean, I think it's too late for me to start one of those. I'm actually on a workout app, so I don't have to keep track of it. It's all in the app for me. But
Sure.
for somebody who's not on a fitness program or doesn't pay for one, and you have your own split that works for you, that's a fantastic idea. I highly recommend.
I have, for a while, Zach and I over the summer were doing workouts together. So like I wasn't using my app on my phone. I was just doing what he was doing. So I have like almost 3 or 4 months of workouts in my notes. And sometimes I'll go to the gym and not use my app, so I'll do my own workout. But it's kind of cool because you can also see your progress in real time. It's like, okay, well, in June I was, I don't know, I was bicep curling 15s or whatever, and now I'm doing 30s.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I really am progressing, and that keeps you motivated to keep going.
Yes.
And what's also cool, I guess, kind of going back to our topic for the month of review, I know I can speak for myself, and I think for Tony and Dean, we have consistently worked out since, I mean, from the beginning of this month, but also, I mean, I started last January. Tony's been in this for years now, Dean for about 6 months, but I mean, you got to take things, you got to eat the elephant one bite at a time, and looking in, the last month, very, very, very consistent.
This has been a month of consistency for sure. With working out, I get, right now I'm on 3 a week. It's going to go up to 4 pretty soon. But for right now, it's 3 a week. I've hit every workout every week for the month of January and for the months previous, which I'm very proud of. But not only that, we have met every Wednesday
We have.
for months. And it's continued through January, except I must confess, it was Tony's birthday yesterday, so we skipped yesterday. We're recording on a Thursday. I'm sorry.
Everybody wish Tony a happy birthday, or we're finding you.
Happy birthday, Tony.
Thanks, fellas.
Happy birthday,
So,
Tony.
I will say we're not as consistent as we make ourselves out to be.
True.
We're
But
fakes,
that-
we're phonies, and we're frauds.
That one day just really messed us up, guys.
yeah, I'm sorry. This is actually going to be the last installation of this podcast, so we're very sorry.
Yeah.
Lord
Jokes
forgive
aside,
us.
it's
We're-
been a very consistent month for all of us, I would have to say, and even for real estate too. I've made every meeting that we've had in the office, and by the way, those meetings are great. We have a lot of fantastic information coming out of those meetings, which I feel very confident about, which is going to kind of segue into my progress through February, through March, through April, because once that spring market hits, I'm going to need all this information under my belt when I start getting more leads. So right now, January is kind of the month, and February, the months of just kind of building knowledge. I'm not necessarily getting leads. I'm not going to make any money in real estate in January or February. I just kind of have to get all the information under my belt, and I've done a pretty good job of working on that through January, which I'm proud of.
That's pretty cool that you've been doing that, though. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
you really are moving up in the world. You guys really are as far as real estate goes.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
pretty
we're,
cool.
we're making it happen because, I mean, what also, you can either sit on your couch and do nothing, or you can put 110% into what you're doing.
Right.
And like, I'm not necessarily super crazy about real estate. Like, I don't wake up, dreaming about real estate or whatever. But
It's part of the path.
It's part of the path. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a project of mine. It's something I want to build a network in, because you can take that network anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You can build a network in real estate. You can take that anywhere. So for me, it's a lot. It's a career, not a lifestyle. I was about to say lifestyle.
Right.
It's a career. It's what it is. I'm not necessarily like crazy about it, but I'm also not really involved in it yet. So I haven't really given it a shot.
Sure.
I do think, though, based on what I've heard and what I've seen about real estate, that it is going to be a path I go down for a long time, because it just seems so open. You can make such a large network. You can make your own hours. Your success is determined by the amount of work you put in, and that's attractive to me.
I would say that the same thing is attractive to me, which is part of why I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that real estate gives you a really good opportunity to
Yes.
be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So that is pretty cool. I mean, you are pursuing that path. But
Yeah, absolutely.
the more things you dip your toes into, the better off you'll be.
Yeah.
It can't hurt you.
Yeah.
Nope.
And we were talking earlier, like, we like to make some pretty big goals, the three of us. We were thinking, like, just with this podcast, I mean, imagine we can launch our own clothing line. And I told Tony, I'm like, what if one day we were doing live events? Like, we're going
Yeah.
around to schools, we're even selling out stadiums. I don't know. And we're
You
just
never know.
we're just talking to people. Like,
Yeah.
that has been such a lifelong goal of mine. Like, I actually wrote on one of my bucket lists once that I want to give a nationally recognized speech at some point in my life.
Yep.
So, like,
Gotta
I
start
mean,
somewhere.
I know this is the month in review, and we haven't given a speech.
We
in the
haven't
month.
we haven't given a speech, but we've started something that could potentially lead to us giving that speech.
Right.
Yes.
We threw a pebble in the water, and you can see the rings starting to go throughout the lake.
Right.
But
If-
one day we'll throw a boulder into the lake.
this podcast in and of itself is really an entrepreneurial venture,
It
which
is.
is something
Mhm.
I've always wanted to have. Now, I have had small little things in the past, which is like buying and reselling stuff for a little bit of a profit, but
Some Gary Vee type stuff.
right. But this is different. This has way more opportunity for growth,
Yeah.
and it's definitely a better path, and it's on a
Yeah.
path to my goals. So
Yeah.
that I'm pursuing a better path than I was before. I can say that without a doubt. I don't know where the buying and reselling thing was going to go, but it's definitely not going to be as big as this is going to be. I have way more faith in this,
Yes.
way more confidence in it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
very happy we're
Yeah.
doing it.
Because even to trail back a little bit, the key is consistency. We were talking about that in the park around, I don't even know, probably August. We were
Right.
talking about how we're like, if we're above anything else, above content, above weekly uploads, above monthly uploads, whatever we decide to do, it needs to be consistent, whatever it is. We need to be consistent with our promotions. We need to be consistent with our uploads. We need to be consistent with our meetings. We discussed it all. If this is going to succeed, it's going to be because we are consistent. That's it.
Yeah, and there's something really, sorry to cut you off, Tony, but there is
That's
something
fine.
that's very special about having an idea and then seeing your idea, right?
Right.
Like, there's something so special about, like we've mentioned before, having that idea late night, in early summer. Like, what if we had a podcast? Now we're 5 episodes in. It's something
Yeah.
that's really crazy. And it's, again, like we've said before, January we started it, and the growth we've seen has been spectacular.
I remember this was in December before we even put up our first episode. I actually had the audio on, what was it, iTunes? Probably iTunes. And I had the logo on there and all that. And then I was playing it on my computer, and you could see our logo, the title of the episode, and the audio playing. I sent it to the group chat. I'm like, is this not the coolest thing you've ever seen?
I
Like,
remember that.
it's actually coming to
Yeah.
fruition. It's here. Like, I'm looking at it.
And looking back, as far as like the time period in which we spent building up to this,
Yeah.
it seems like it was like zip.
Yeah.
I mean, it flew by.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, we're almost approaching a year if you
True.
think about it. Like, I mean, kind of, but not really.
Yeah, we're
6
already
months.
a month in.
6 months. Yeah, like halfway through whatever we did that. Like, that's insane.
We
And-
spent so much time planning it, and now we're already a month in.
Yeah, but I think that the planning was absolutely necessary.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
look at how
Oh, yeah.
successful it has made us, at least on our home base.
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Because there is a difference between planning too much and planning what you need to plan. Like, you don't want to try and plan every single thing so that everything is perfect, because nothing's ever going to be perfect. You just need
Yeah.
to start and then figure it out. And that's, I think, what we did. I mean, we planned our name, our logo, all that necessary stuff, but then we just hit record, and here
Yeah.
we are.
And I mean, we have a lot of 2022 to go, but I mean, I've said it to so many people. I am so excited for this year. I think we got a lot of growth coming. I don't know how far real estate is going to go this year, only because it's my first year, but I'm going to make it go far.
Right.
And with this podcast, guys, we have 11 months to build a brand. I mean, we have 11 months to build this thing up, and we've already seen a little bit of success with it. I mean, if we stay consistent, this could go far.
This is the one venture I'm currently on right now, which I know is going to grow and which I have the opportunity to grow with.
Yes.
I'm not in real estate. I'm technically only working part-time,
Mhm.
and I'm in school the other part of the time. So it's a little, I can't necessarily
Yeah.
do the same things as you, but this is kind of like my baby too. This
Yeah.
is what I'm looking to grow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I know, maybe kind of go back to the original point that we were having, like just our month in review. I know I can't speak for Tony or Dean, but I had the opportunity to meet a lot of new people this month too,
Oh, yeah.
especially through our real estate office. I got to meet a lot of new, really cool people, with some really cool stories. And I mean, you never know where that's going to take you in life, but just to have the opportunity to talk to some new faces. I mean, I work at Wegmans too, so I see new faces there. I've met new people there too, and just made new friends over this past month. And it's something that's very special. And I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to experience that.
Absolutely. And it's going to continue through the year, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I may meet a lot of new people this year, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
As far as January goes, I wouldn't say that I met really anybody new. I was mainly preoccupied with work, which I don't really meet many people doing that job. It's the same couple of guys every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll be starting school very soon, so I'll definitely be meeting people there.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I mean, that's one thing I can look forward to in February, March, April, is meeting some new people, seeing some new faces, getting to hear a couple new stories, and hopefully making some long-lasting relationships. Friends. Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. But I mean, just to kind of tie it all together, it's going to be a wild ride this year. Absolutely. And we're excited for you guys to be on this venture with us. And some of you guys are actually going to be on this podcast as well, which we're also very excited about. So stay tuned. It's coming out. It's all coming out.
You guys are going to grow with us, so get ready.
But as always, we really, really do appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate the support. You know, you've heard the whole gist, but please, please, please don't be afraid to share. We really, really appreciate it. We really love you guys tuning in, and we appreciate all the support. You guys reaching out saying, you know, good episode. It means a lot. It really does. It makes our day.
I would like to say one more thing before we wrap it up. I did reach a goal of mine this January.
What was that?
This past week. It was very important to me. I have officially watched all of the Lord of the Rings extended editions. I've been wanting to do that for a while, and I finally did it. So I've had a mini accomplishment this past week.
Stay tenacious, my friends. Stay tenacious. Tony is going to be a lord himself someday.
It's a fact.
But I mean, anyways, thank you guys for tuning into Our Path podcast. Remember, this isn't our path. This is your path too. So thank you for joining us.